welcome back to the channel. It's a Lit Life with Miranda Reads, and today we have a double unboxing for you. The first one comes from Owlcrate, that is the April 2021 book box, and the second one is a mystery box. So I am a reading VIP with Once Upon a Book Club, which means I have a discount code, Miranda Reads 10. Use it to get 10% off of your book box. But also, it means that they will occasionally send me random PR boxes to do an unboxing of. So I'm really excited to delve into this, and let's just get started. So we're going to unbox the Owlcrate one first. The theme this round is Ruthless Rivals. And the first thing we picked up is the card that tells you where all the items come from, what they're based off of, etc. Now the second item in here is one that I am delighted to try. Table Grounds Coffee is a coffee company that I believe has worked with Owlcrate before. They have created a cinnamon hazelnut coffee blend, and it's based off of Where Dreams Descend, and in the sequel, When Night Breaks. I'm really excited to try out the coffee. It is a little bit late when I got this package, so I'm not going to try it out tonight, but I'll let you know if it's good in the description. The next item was crafted by Tess Medovich, aka Paperback Bones. Now this is a literary list category game. The concept behind this game is that you are given a bookish prompt, and then you have 30 seconds to come up with books that fulfill that prompt. Now this sounds like a really fun one. It kind of gives me category vibes, but very, very bookishly inclined, and I like the idea of it. And the next one we have is inspired by These Violent Delights, and it's designed by Paperback Bones. This is a set of chopsticks based off of the two rival gangs featured in that book. So one of them is the Scarlet Gang, and the other one is the White Flower Gangs, and the chopsticks are labeled appropriately. Moving right along, what we have next is designed by Lady Chubb Letters, and it is a phone wallet inspired by Hamilton. The idea is that you can attach it permanently to your phone case, and then you can store your ID, cards, cash, and then also a key on the key ring for when you are going out. And after that, we have something designed by KDP Letters. Now this is based off of Nevernight, which is one of my favorite books ever. And it's a pillowcase with the quote, "Conquer your fear and you can conquer the world." And I absolutely adore it. I love, love, love that book series, and I feel like anything tangentially related would just be 5 stars in my book. And then after that, of course, we have the Owlcrate Enamel Pin, created by Icy Designs. The things in the 4 quadrants of the pin this round are important elements in the book. And then there's the little paper packet where we learn about the artist, a little bit more about the author, and they hint at what's happening next month. So I'm excited about next month. I think it's going to be mermaid theme, and I'm hopefully excited about that, ... And then from there, we have the book. So the book this round is Witches Steeped in Gold, and as always there is an exclusive cover to Owlcrate, a letter from the author to the Owlcrate subscribers, and underneath the dust jacket is a unique piece of artwork designed by Tiara, aka Bloody Dammit. And in addition, there's an exclusive foil stamp on the hardcover as well. Now this is actually a book that I got a arc from, I want to say NetGalley ages ago, and I've already read it. So here is the summary. So this book is the debut novel of Ciannon Smart, and it follows 2 main characters. There's Irea and Jasmine. Irea has been kept in prison for pretty much her entire life, and she's constantly plotting her revenge and her freedom. And who she's plotting against is actually the other main character. So Jasmine is the princess, the daughter of the queen, and her sister was sacrificed to preserve the queen's power. And Jasmine has no intention of doing that. So these 2 girls are sworn enemies, but they do have a united cause: take down the queen. So I love, 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 love the concept. And I liked the magic system as well. It felt very unique, a very fresh take on it. And the world building in general, I enjoyed. The only thing that really threw me out of this book was the pacing. Oh, and the decision making. The pacing, when you have a 544 page book, I strongly feel that every page needs to count. It cannot be slow. It cannot be glacial. And this book, I would say the first half, maybe even the first 2/3, was that slow and glacial pace. The ending, things picked up marvelously. But when you have to slog through 300-ish pages to get to the good bits, it gets, I don't know, to me it's frustrating. The personalities of the characters, I read a lot of YA, so I do get a lot of the impulsive decisions. Oh, the world is over because of a minor inconvenience, that sort of stuff. And this book definitely seemed to have quite a few tropes like that. And it wasn't terrible, but at the same time, some of the characters, their decision-making skills just really needed a firm kick in the rear. I gave this book about 3.5 to 4 stars because the ending did really pick it up, and I did really love the setting. It's just there were some elements that really frustrated me and kept me from enjoying it to its fullest. As far as the items in this book box, I think they were pretty darn good. The game itself sounds like a lot of fun. The only problem is I don't know if I have enough bookish friends in real life to play it with. I really enjoyed the pillow based off of Nevernight. That is one of my favorite series, as I've already said like multiple times in this video, but it's still really cool to have it. I am excited to try the coffee. The chopsticks, they are surprisingly heavy, but not like in like I can't pick this up heavy, but in like a this was solidly made heavy, which I'm pleased by. I'm not entirely sure how much use I will get out of the little credit card holder based off of Hamilton, but at the same time, like if I need one, I definitely have one, so that works out as well. And now we're going to move on to the second box, the mystery box from Once Upon a Book Club. Let's get started. I did a little bit of digging, and I realized that the box I got sent was the November 2021 Adult Once Upon a Book Club book box. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this company, they have a rather unique approach to creating a book box. Instead of just getting thematically appropriate items, every single item in the Once Upon a Book Club corresponds to a specific page and item in the book, which definitely increases the variety and just the uniqueness of the items. You really never know what's going to happen, and that's one thing I love about Once Upon a Book Club, the spontaneity. So for this book box, we're just going to open it up here, and on the top we have all of our papery stuff. We have a quote from the book, we have the little guide to reading it, we have a little bookmark that reminds us how we are supposed to read this book. Alright, so then we have the items and the book. Now this story begins with Marjorie Benson as a young child. She has a moment with her father right before his untimely death that sparks a love within her for cryptozoology, which is a field that studies animals that haven't been discovered yet. In particular, the golden beetle of New Caledonia garners Marjorie's attention, and she spends quite a bit of time studying beetles in her youth. Quite a few years later, Marjorie is now referred to as Miss Benson, and she's a school teacher to a rather nasty lot of children. After being relentlessly bullied for years, she finally snaps and walks right out of the school, and at first, she's kind of horrified by what she's done. But soon she realizes that this is an opportunity of sorts. She can finally travel across the world and find that golden beetle like she's always dreamed. And so the planning starts. And while she's able to organize most everything on her own, what she truly needs is a competent assistant for the expedition. Enter Enid Pretty, who is pretty much the exact opposite of what Miss Benson wants or needs. But Enid is the only applicant that stuck around, and now they're stuck. And that brings us to our very first gift on page 57. When Enid and Miss Benson first meet, it is clear that Enid is not exactly prepared. Her luggage is numerous, her clothing is preposterous, and despite Miss Benson's doubts, Enid is able to navigate through the various trains, boats, and authoritative people with ease. Throughout these wild adventures, the only thing that Enid refuses to let leave her side is this little red and white valise, which is a small traveling handbag. She's quite cagey about the bag and her past, to be honest. But for the moment, Miss Benson dismisses the oddity in favor of the adventure. As we continue through the story, we eventually get to chapter 33, titled Merry Christmas, Miss Benson. At this point, Miss Benson and Enid have been through the ringer. The adventures have had their ups, their downs, and more downs. They are being unwittingly stalked, Miss Benson's hip is acting up, insect bites are becoming infected, and throughout all of this, there has been a lot of really lovely beetle species, but not the one that they are in search for. On page 197, Miss Benson and Enid are listening to the radio and soon realize that Christmas is just around the corner. And so they exchange a handful of gifts garnered from their supplies and the local area. As they listen more to the radio, Enid becomes increasingly worried about the news from Britain reaching them in their remote location. She becomes so distraught that she ends up giving her portable radio to the locals and continues on without it. Miss Benson is puzzled, but at this point she's kind of used to Enid's oddities. But then Enid tells Miss Benson news that shocks her to her core. And the final gift comes at page 333. As the book wraps up, we learn that Miss Benson has found more than she could have ever have hoped for. And she has suffered pain and losses like none other. The book ends on a somewhat happy note before we transition to the epilogue set many years later. In the epilogue, we are in the Natural History Museum of London, and we're following the perspective of a new character, Freya. She is the only woman in the entomology department, and to be frank, it's really terrible. But she pushes that aside for her love of the science. Now, for many years, some mysterious benefactor has been sending perfectly preserved specimens to the department, and the identity of this person has been hotly debated. For the first time, Freya has been given a package of her very own, and inside it contains a photograph of two women who look completely opposite to each other, and yet they are so joyful and happy. She then pulls out her magnifying glass and spies a small, colorful beetle in one of their hands. Right, so overall thoughts on this book. I really liked just the way these characters are created, the way they are crafted. They are gorgeous. Miss Benson and Enid stole the show with the way they played off of each other. And even their mysterious stalker totally got my heart, if that makes sense. I really adored that. I do feel like the tragedy in this book might have been a little bit much for me. Like it wasn't like the point where I was tearing and crying and etc. But after a while, I just wanted the characters to have a little bit easier of a time, to be a little bit happier. But then again, if the book was too easy for them, then I probably wouldn't have been as gripped by this story as I was. I loved the love for science, and I really adored just learning about the beetles and all of Miss Benson's joy at just finding and exploring, and despite the tragedies and the difficulties, being able to become the person she was meant to be was really amazing to watch. The items in this box I think worked pretty well. The little valise, I think it's valise, the little handbag that Enid holds, you can tell by the weight of the fabric that it's not supposed to be a bag that carries very heavy things, but I feel like it works really well as a laptop bag, and I do like the polka dotty pattern. It just reminds me of Enid and her absolute absurdity, and I love that. I'm not a big tea expert, but I did like the tea. The strawberry one was definitely my favorite. And then from there, we have the radio. Now, the radio is actually a Bluetooth speaker, and you can use it to listen to music, YouTube videos, what have you. And I think that was pretty neat. I really thought it's just such an unexpected thing. I also like the old-timiness of it, and you can tell it is a heavy little speaker, so it is good. And the last item, I feel like it just ties in so well with the story on a whole. And I really love that the next generation's getting involved. I adore just finding out a little hint at what happened to Miss Benson. Such a wonderful epilogue. Thank you so much for watching, and happy reading. Bye.